name's Hira Khan. My business is Safe Haven Chiropractic in Ashburn. We serve a lot of moms, babies, and family wellness. Majority of the population I see is under the age of 18. And we specialize in breastfeeding, feeding-related issues, head shape, anything you can think of kid-related, and then pregnancy and postpartum. For wellness, it's a lot of just, keeping yourself as healthy as possible, and then keeping the focus more on neuro-based chiropractic.
So a comprehensive mother and child care.
Absolutely, yeah. Yes.
Amazing. How did you get into this industry?
So it's kind of a funny story. So my family, everybody before me has been a medical doctor. My dad was the first one to choose not to do it, only because he didn't want to work with blood, and he just wanted more math-related things, which we have never had an accountant. So when I chose to do chiropractic, it kind of led to it because both my parents had gotten sick from random things when I was a kid. My dad had a double bypass. I think he was 36. And then my mom was diagnosed with brain tumor soon after. But I remember after her second surgery, they had apologized and said she didn't need it, and she had a photographic memory. I remember this so clearly because that was the moment. I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to do this. Before that, I always thought I would be an OBGYN because my grandma was one. So I had a pull of just wanting to work with moms, and I was like, great, I also get to work with babies. But then that moment, I remember that conversation so well with the doctor that I was like, I don't think I want to do this. So I looked into dentistry, and then my dentist that I had gone to for years said, I know you love to work with your hands, but you have to find something that you're passionate about, which he was right, because years later, the more and more I shattered I think I was 18, I was like, you know what, I actually want to do chiropractic, and I want to do it with moms and babies. So when I opened this office, it was taking that feeling forward. It's like, okay, it has to be one, passion-based, but whatever I didn't get, or my family didn't get growing up, from different providers. So everything that Safe Haven is about is creating safe space for families, and everything is tailored to their needs for that reason. Because I feel like if I walk into an office, I want to feel a certain way, that I'm being heard and listened to, and that's what I brought to chiropractic, and having both sides of it, looking things from the medical perspective from my grandparents' side, but also as being part of a patient's family and what that was like for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Chiropractic can affect everything, right? If
Absolutely.
You're not feeling the line. I've been noticing more and more babies going to chiropractors, which wasn't a thing when my kids were babies. But now I've seen so many people go to help with constipation and all sorts of stuff, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It helps with, even if you don't have an issue, you can definitely go, because birth itself can be pretty traumatic. Even if you have the easiest birth, fast births can be really hard on some babies as well. So getting checked is awesome, and going to somebody who's certified. So I am certified and board certified in serving mom and babies. And so it's additional training that you get after chiropractic school. So what you're looking for is issues before they even happen. So when this baby comes in, especially if I've seen the mom and baby comes in right after birth, I'll check for their head range of motion, what the pelvis is doing, and how relaxed they are. And then right off the gate, I'll give them some stretches that they can do at home, so they feel empowered that, okay, I know what to look for, what should a latch feel like, how should their head be, what to expect with tummy time, and for some reason, let's say they hate tummy time, what are your alternatives for the time being? So really making sure that we keep the lens on wellness care, just keeping baby and mom as healthy as possible.
Oh, wow, wonderful.
Yeah.
And you said you just opened up a new space. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we are now in Ashburn Shopping Plaza. It's off of Ashburn Shopping, I think, yeah, it's Ashburn Shopping Plaza area, yeah. It's a little bit bigger than what my other space was. Well, actually a lot bigger, 800 square feet bigger. I have a feeding room, which I call the family room. Anybody can go hang out in there, diapers, wipes, as comfortable as they can be, especially with reception area. Sometimes gets backed up, and with babies and even little ones, if they have sensory issues, it's easy to go in there. We have 2 other rooms for treatment. Our office is very calm, and that's something I always get to hear from new patients. And there's always music playing. There's always coffee, snacks.
Very
tons
zen.
of tons of toys and plants. Yeah, but that's really what I wanted to go for, is peace and zen, because sometimes, especially when you are pregnant or even postpartum, that's like the biggest thing you want, is just a calming place. Just feeling that way makes your body feel completely different. Even if you're in pain, it's just like, okay, for a second I can let go of all day stressors. So that's what I really kept in mind.
And being around people that have been through it too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And for that reason, we're actually working on making like a community page on Facebook, and that'll just be for families that come into the office, especially so moms can connect with each other. And then if I don't know the answer to a question, they can ask another mom, and that way they just get to share something in a very private space, which other Facebook groups are great, but I feel like the smaller the group, the easier it is. And oftentimes in the office, especially with first-time moms, they'll ask me like, hey, do you know of anyone I could hang out with, or just go get coffee?
Sure.
Yeah, so I feel like that page will be awesome for them to just connect with each other.
I remember when mine were little and I'd see somebody else with a stroller in the neighborhood, I'd be like, hi, can we be friends?
Yeah, exactly.
Can we talk?
Yeah.
So speaking of Facebook, what are you guys doing as far as marketing and advertising to get clients in?
So for the most part, everything is word of mouth. I have not really had to market overall. Everything is education based. So on my Instagram and Facebook, it's all educational posts. And then everything else is based on referrals. So I moved out here about 15 months ago, and I've not had to really market. And I do take pride in that, only because I feel like if your work speaks for itself, you're doing something right. And then based on that, when I like work with a patient, let's say they said, hey, I'm working with a lactation consultant, a pediatrician, whatever, I'll always reach out to them and then let them know what I'm doing. And I think that just helps, because then everybody's on board with what's happening, but also gets them to understand the chiropractic side of things as well. And I feel like that's like the best kind of marketing you can do for the type of work that I am really specialized in. Yeah.
So you moved out here from Wisconsin, I heard you say earlier?
Yeah.
And then you just started this from scratch?
Yes.
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 Tell me a little bit about that.
End of December of 2022.
Okay.
A friend of mine here was already helping me find a space, so I started out in, I think it's 181 square feet room. It was very tiny.
And what made you choose Loudoun County?
The biggest thing was, I don't have kids, but in the future I was like, when I do have kids, where would I want them to grow up? I'm not a city person per se, but I feel like this area was good, that it was like, okay, you can go to Western Loudoun, you'll get your country life a little bit. You go a little bit the other direction, you'll get city life. Weather generally is pretty great. I learned it's a little humid, but that's okay.
Yeah. You're surviving.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Like, I like snow, but I don't want it all the time.
Not Wisconsin snow?
No, not Wisconsin snow. So that was one thing. And then culture, because of the town I grew up in, we really didn't have a lot of diversity, but then that brought lack of food options. And I was 25 when I first had Thai food, and I was like, I don't think I should live here. So since I've been out here, it's been trying different foods, different cultures, and you grow so much by meeting people. So when I thought about where would I want to raise my kids, I looked at a few different spots. So this was one of them. The other two I don't think were really what I was looking for, was Montana or Washington.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, if I moved out that way, it's the same exact thing as living in Wisconsin. So I ended up picking this area for that reason.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've honestly loved it. It's definitely been a growing, like as a person kind of experience first year. Like I didn't think I would have a culture shock. Driving was different.
Okay.
Out here.
Yeah.
There's not much traffic, all the different places I've lived in. But I think it's all been very positive experience being out here. Yeah.
Have you experienced any challenges with setting up a business from scratch in a new area?
Yes, but I think more so because I don't even know what you're supposed to do with the business.
Yeah.
So everything that I've done has been based on just meeting people and getting a feel for things. Like when I interviewed for CPAs, I literally just told each one that I have no idea what I'm doing. I just want somebody to teach me. Kind of like the same mentality I take to the office is education. It's like, teach me. I don't know anything, because if I don't know, then I don't know what to do with the business aspect of things either. So I would talk to as many people as possible, doing my own research, and I was very blessed that I ended up finding a lot of the right people and getting to be part of like Loudoun Chamber, because they were really good at getting me connected, and then other healthcare providers that I met, especially like dentists and therapists, they all be like, oh, why don't you talk to so-and-so? So I think just meeting the people and
a lot
connecting,
of networking.
yes, has helped me tremendously.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Tell me about what you find most rewarding about what you do. It's a big question.
It is a big question. I would say, and it kind of makes me emotional. So to me, I'm all about kids. And when kids are in pain, it is so hard. It is so hard to watch them in pain. And then you look at parents and you're like, oh my God. Because especially with moms, they don't want to tell you how they're feeling, like just help my kid. Yeah. But when I see helping their baby, their child, regardless of their age, and then you see the mom light up, I would say that's like the biggest thing. And
you're going to make me tear up.
Yeah, it's because, like I said, my family went through it with a lot of it. Both of my grandparents, as I mentioned, were doctors. They were both surgeons, and they had their own clinic. Half the time, they didn't even charge people. They said, pay me whatever works. And that's like a big thing in my family. It's like you help people in every way you can. So with everything with the office, that's why I call it Safe Haven. It's like I want people to feel that way when they come in, they go, like they can always reach me via email, with text, and that's it. Just if I can help one person each day, I feel like I'm helping so many people because it's a ripple effect. So that's just feeling that way where I can see their eyes change. That's it. That's what it's all about for me. When I picked the office name, when I picked colors, everything was about the mother. Because moms, in my eyes, the mother is what's bonding the entire family together. And
Absolutely.
They're the ones pushing everything forward. If I can help them and then help everybody else in the family that way, that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I know how much it means to somebody as a mom to get the answers that you're looking for when you're lost in a certain department when it comes to your kid, and the relief you feel that when you get see some changes and get the answers that you want.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the office's logo is come as you are for that reason.
Yeah.
You just show up in any way.
Yeah.
I have sometimes postpartum moms that come and they say, oh, I'm so sorry I didn't shower. I'm like, that's okay. That's fine. Yeah. All that matters is that you're here.
You're here.
Yeah.
You got yourself here.
Yeah,
check it off your list.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Just getting a baby in a car and driving, it's a task. It's a huge task.
Yes, getting dressed and out the door with a newborn is hard.
Diapers, wipes,
yes.
everything. It's a huge thing, and I feel like we don't appreciate parents enough for that. It's a huge change. Going from just 2 to 1, and then from 1 to 2, it's just adding more and more on your plate. And then at the same time, you're expected to also show up in society a certain way.
Yeah.
As long as you're showing up, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for new moms?
Finding a community. Because in community, I always say there's unity, that it's part of community. So as far as, like, if you can find your people, your village, people that are going to show up for you in any way, they don't even have to do anything for you, just sitting next to you, just listening to you. That's it.
Yeah.
It's going to make a huge difference, because oftentimes they go unheard. That's like the biggest thing. And if you don't listen to parents, you're not going to find answers. Like my new patient appointments are about an hour and a half. They're more time, I think about half an hour more than an average chiropractic new patient appointment. And the only reason is because I try to go back as much into the history as possible. My grandpa always said that history is where the answers are. So whenever I try, so whenever I sit down and talk to people, that's what I'm trying to gauge. And and then I'll always ask, okay, who's helping you? Who's supporting you? And that's really what gave me the idea for the Facebook page, that if we can find that village and that community, it'll make a world of difference. I think back in the day, we had people always supporting us, whether it was our parents, our neighbors. There was always that camaraderie one way or another. We don't really have that as much because life has gotten so much faster.
So much faster. And working moms go back to work so much sooner.
Absolutely. 6 weeks is, to me, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you had C-section,
Yes.
you haven't even fully healed.
No.
But in any case, we know 2 years after giving birth, you're still considered in full-fledged postpartum. Your brain's not even back to normal.
No, nothing's normal.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the expectation of mothers, and then you have to be okay, and then you have to do this, and you have to do that. And you can't slow down. You can't have emotions. You can't do this. You can't think about your kid. You can't talk about your kid too much. Like, it's just, you have to just be a robot.
Much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How do you tell
admin.
people to kind of silence out those voices in their head?
Absolutely, yeah. And also meeting people that are going through something similar as yours, I think it makes a world of difference. I don't have kids yet, but I feel like the more and more I learn from mothers what they go through, it's like, okay, I need to prepare myself for a lot of that.
You're going to be all sorts of prepared. What advice do you have for an entrepreneur such as yourself that is wanting to move to a completely new location and start a business? What advice do you have?
Showing up as authentically as possible. I think when you show yourself to people as who you are and be vulnerable, they'll connect with you and they will help you. There are so many people that are willing to help you. This is my 7th state that I've lived in.
Oh, wow.
And I've met great people in each state. People, I always believe there are more good people than bad people. And I think when it comes to business, same exact thing. Like, if you just show up and say, this is my vision, this is my mission, let's talk. People really want to help you, and that's really what has helped me tremendously, especially first 4 months. I grew out of my current space in a matter of 3 months. By the middle of 3rd month, I had to look for a new space.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it was because of the people. That's it.
Yeah, and you and people coming, and the peace that you give them, and the care that you give for them. Are there any last parting words you'd like to leave us with? Advice for our listeners, business owners, new mothers?
It's a really good question.
Another big question.
Yeah. I would say education and knowledge in terms of this entire phase of life is the biggest thing. If you feel like you're unheard, find somebody else, like a different provider, or connect with people that are they're looking for the same answers, or just talking to mothers, talking to other people that have gone through it. They're going to give you the wisdom that maybe you didn't think about, an idea that's going to help you tremendously. And same thing with like keeping an eye on all the webinars that my office does online. It's all about education, and a lot of providers, especially from that perspective, are willing to just guide you. And if they can give you a few pointers, awesome. That kind of gives you an idea of how to maneuver through whatever it is, whether it's breastfeeding challenges, or let's say pain through prenatal care or postpartum. There are so many different things that can be done. It doesn't always have to be one route and that's it. There's so many options.
So many options.
Absolutely, especially
Speaking
now.
of education, you said you have a workshop coming up soon?
Yes, in May we're trying to set up a webinar. It will be online on Instagram, and we'll also do it on Facebook at the same time. It'll be talking about postpartum anxiety and depression. That'll be the biggest thing. You don't even have to have it. It's just going to give you pointers how to navigate that before it even happens, or if you are already struggling with anxiety, how to kind of how to maneuver that before things even happen, how to help yourself out into like journaling, or we hear the word self-care. Beyond self-care, what you can do to help yourself, and also not just moms, also for dads. They go through that too. So it's really going to work through just individually how it's going to impact parents, and then as couples what that could look like, and then what your options are if you do go through challenges.
And you can find this workshop on your website?
It'll be on our Instagram.
On your Instagram page.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing your story with us.
Yeah,
It sounds
thank
like
you.
you're doing amazing work, and I wish you continued growth and
Thank you
success.
so much. Yeah,
You're
thank
welcome.
you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you.